You open your eyes not to sound, but to light. The forest stretches in a slow exhale, the air cool, still damp, with the night's quiet breath. A beam of gold filters through the canopy, tracing thin, glowing veins across green leaves, and in that light, something awakens. Inside the smallest leaf, hidden beneath waxy layers and fragile cells, life begins again. Not through movement, not through noise, but through chemistry, calm, constant, perfect. You can almost feel it, a faint pulse beneath the green, a vibration at the edge of silence. This is photosynthesis, the secret heartbeat of the planet. Soft hum of sunlight through branches you imagine shrinking smaller and smaller, down past the skin of the leaf, through walls of cellulose that glow faintly like stained glass. Inside, you drift among tiny round rooms, plant cells each filled with shimmering green bodies. They look like beads of emerald light floating in clear water. These are chloroplasts, the engines of the leaf's quiet dawn. Each chloroplast holds the memory of the sun, millions of years ago. They were free-living beings, ancient cyanobacteria that turned sunlight into sugar. Long before forests, long before flowers, they learned how to drink light, and the plants, in their deep wisdom, welcomed them in a partnership so perfect that it still endures in every living leaf on earth. Gentle, ambient cue, faint hum of ancient light now, as the first rays of morning slide across the forest, the photons, tiny packets of sunlight, fall onto each green cell. They travel across space, 8 minutes from the sun's surface to this single leaf. And when they land, they do not burn or shatter. They are caught, absorbed, transformed. A photon meets a molecule of chlorophyll, and in that instant, energy leaps from light into life. You can almost hear it, a whisper at the edge of perception. The leaf inhales sunlight, and the world begins to breathe again. Chlorophyll, that ancient green pigment, is shaped to catch light. It loves the red and blue wavelengths of the sun, but it gently rejects green, sending it back to your eyes as color. That's why every forest glows in shades of jade and olive. Why the earth itself appears like a blue-green marble in the void. Soft rustle of leaves, low sunlight hum inside each chloroplast. The energy of light moves in graceful rhythm, not in explosions or chaos, but in sequence and harmony. Electrons, tiny carriers of charge, begin to dance along a molecular path. This path, scientists call the electron transport chain, but here, in the hush of nature, it feels more like a current, a stream of invisible fire flowing through green water. You watch as light becomes motion, motion becomes energy, and energy becomes food. The chloroplast takes what the sun gives freely and stores it as sugar, glucose, the simplest form of stored sunlight. That sugar becomes the wood in trees, the taste of fruit, the softness of moss beneath your feet. Everything that lives eats this light, some directly, some through others. You are, in a quiet and ancient way, made of sunlight too, soft, ambient cue, faint chime. Like light through crystal, the air stirs gently, and you notice the breath of the trees, not just poetic, but real. For, as the chloroplasts hum their photosynthetic song, they take in carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen back into the world. You inhale, and their gift enters you. You exhale, and your breath feeds them in return. A perfect loop, carbon, oxygen, light, and life. The exchange so smooth so silent that it feels more like prayer than process. You imagine it happening everywhere, in leaves by rivers, in algae floating on waves, in tiny mosses clinging to ancient stones. The earth breathes in through green and out through you. Soft wind swelling through branches, you pause and think of the sun, that star whose warmth fuels all this softness, all this stillness. It burns with unimaginable fire, yet from this distance, its light becomes gentle, a nurturing touch rather than a storm. If the earth were closer, it would burn. Farther, it would freeze. But here, in this quiet orbit, balance holds. The light you feel on your face is the same light that feeds the forest. The same energy once captured by ancient leaves, long turned to stone, now buried deep as coal, or oil, or gas. The fossilized breath of prehistoric sunlight. Even the fire of a candle is sunlight remembered, released again to dance. Pause. Sound of distant birdsong. In this soft awareness, you begin to understand that photosynthesis is not just chemistry, but the rhythm of being alive. Every green thing, from a blade of grass to a towering redwood, plays this same song over and over for billions of years. It is a song with two verses, light and life, energy and rest during the day. Light pours in and the leaf works, turning energy into sugar, the slow, patient labor of the green. But at night, the process softens. The leaf rests, stores, and breathes inward. Even the forest sleeps, a living symphony gently lowering its volume. And in that stillness, you begin to feel connected to it all, to the whisper of chloroplasts, to the pulse of the earth itself. Gentle cue, warm sunlight through trees, faint heartbeat rhythm. Every heartbeat in your chest is powered by the quiet conversion happening in leaves. Every breath you take is shared by something rooted in the soil. You are part of this cycle, an unseen collaboration between flesh and foliage, between lungs and leaf. You exhale, and carbon flows outward, invisible, unhurried. Somewhere, a tree takes it in. Inside its cells, the atom of carbon becomes part of sugar, then wood, then maybe a seed. Someday, that seed becomes another tree, and maybe that tree gives oxygen to another breath of yours. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Light moves in circles, not lines. Soft fading ambient cue, wind. Heartbeat slows. You realize now how every forest, every garden, every patch of moss is performing a quiet miracle, a constant act of creation done in silence. It asks for nothing but sunlight and air. It gives everything: shade, oxygen, fruit, beauty, breath. The forest does not rush. It simply waits for dawn, lets the light arrive, and begins again. Pause. Long, soft breath. You close your eyes and imagine yourself as a leaf. You feel light touching your surface, warming you, entering the cells beneath your skin. You feel it transformed, the heat becoming motion, motion becoming sugar, sugar becoming strength. You hold the sun within you, not as fire, but as memory. And you wonder, how can something so fierce become something so gentle? How can the same light that burns the desert become the sweetness of a pear, the softness of grass under your feet? The answer, perhaps, is balance, the same balance that keeps the planet in its orbit. The leaf in its rhythm, the heart in its beat. Soft, cosmic hum, barely audible photosynthesis is balance made visible. It is the earth's way of breathing in light and exhaling life. Without it, no green, no breath, no heartbeat. But with it, everything you know, everything you love, exists, quietly sustained by sunlight, silence, then faint breeze, returning as the morning grows, the forest brightens. You feel warmth on your face, and it feels alive, as if the sun itself knows you. Somewhere, the leaves shimmer, the cells hum, and light moves again through the veins of the world. You listen closely. You can almost hear the soft rhythm of photosynthesis, the gentle inhale and exhale of the living earth. The forest is breathing, and so are you. Soft closing cue, sunlight through leaves, fading to wind and quiet in this breath of dawn. You sense that every beginning starts with light, and that light always finds its way into life. You rest in that knowing, drifting into stillness, wondering what secrets does the light carry next, when it becomes color, when it becomes meaning, when it becomes the next chapter's song. Chapter 2, The Language of Light. Soft ambient cue, faint morning breeze, distant bird call, soft wind chime. You open your eyes to the shimmer of dawn, a thin veil of gold unfurling over the horizon. The forest around you is no longer asleep. Each leaf glows softly, each shadow breathes. Light has returned, not as fire or noise, but as a language, one that everything understands, though no words are spoken. You watch a beam of sunlight slip between branches, patient and sure, landing on a single leaf. Within seconds, something begins to happen, invisible, miraculous. The leaf's green pigments catch that light, drink it, and begin to sing. Ambient cue, faint hum, like sunlight resonating through air. This is photosynthesis, the Earth's oldest conversation. It is the way plants listen to light and answer in kind. Each photon, each tiny particle of sunlight, carries a message, a pulse of energy, born 150 million kilometers away. Deep in the nuclear heart of the sun, that light is old, ancient, even before it meets your gaze. It traveled through space for 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach this place, to meet this moment. And when it arrives, the leaf listens. Inside, molecules called chlorophyll absorb that golden energy. You might imagine them as musicians tuning instruments, their pigments vibrating in response to every wavelength of light. Some hues are ignored, the greens reflected back, painting the forest in the color of what is left behind. The rest is taken in, transformed into sugar, into breath, into life. Ambient cue, gentle low-frequency hum, echo of heartbeats. You think about this, how light becomes food, how sunlight becomes blood, thought, song. The energy that fuels your own heartbeat began here in the fusion core of a star, passed into a leaf, through air and soil, until it reached you. Every heartbeat you feel is an echo of starlight translated by plants. It is humbling to realize that you are made of the sun's patience. When light strikes the leaf, it excites electrons, tiny sparks, dancing from one molecule to another, moving energy like a secret message passed hand to hand. This exchange takes place at a scale too small for sight, yet it is everywhere. The energy moves through pathways called photosystems, named I and to a gentle choreography perfected over billions of years. Ambient cue, soft, flowing sound, like ripples through water. Photosystem 2 is the first to awaken. It captures light, splits water, and releases oxygen, the air that will later fill your lungs. The electrons freed from water travel onward, carried through a microscopic current. They find their way to photosystem I, where sunlight touches them again, lifting them into a higher state of energy. Life builds the sugars that sustain all living things. Glucose, the small, sweet miracle that feeds forests, oceans, and the entire chain of existence. So much from so little, and all of it begins with the simple act of light being noticed. Ambient cue, soft chime, drifting tone of discovery. You realize that light has always been a teacher. It taught the first algae to rise from ocean floors. It guided the eyes of early creatures to sense direction, to seek warmth. It shaped flowers, feathers, and skin. Even now, your own body listens to it. Your circadian rhythm, the clock within your cells, ticks to its pulse. Morning light tells your body to awaken, to release energy, to think, to move. Evening's dimness whispers the opposite: rest, stillness, the return to quiet. You are, in every sense, tuned to the sun's voice. You breathe in slowly. The air tastes like light transformed oxygen made by leaves only hours ago. You are breathing the forest's song, sharing in its unbroken rhythm. It is the purest form of conversation, energy changing shape. From sunlight to leaf, from leaf to air, from air to you. Ambient cue, slow, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat. You begin to understand that photosynthesis is not only a chemical reaction. It is a bridge, a quiet handshake between the cosmic and the living photons. Once fierce with nuclear fire, arrive in silence. They meet the delicate machinery of green cells and surrender their energy. They are not destroyed. They are transformed. In giving themselves to the leaf, they become the forest, the breath of life, and the warmth of thought. The sun speaks, and earth listens. The leaf listens. And you live. You close your eyes, letting that truth settle. Somewhere, in the hidden depths of every leaf, the same story continues, over and over, in perfect rhythm. Light comes. Energy flows, life awakens. Ambient cue, faint rustling leaves, slow melodic hum. But there is something more, a mystery hidden in the light itself. Because light is not just wave, nor just particle. It behaves as both a shimmering paradox at the heart of existence. When you imagine it as a wave, it ripples endlessly through space. When you imagine it as a particle, it becomes photons, tiny messengers carrying energy across the dark. And when no one watches, it can be both at once. Scientists call this wave-particle duality. But here, in the forest, it feels less like science and more like poetry. The same paradox found in the way dreams blend with waking. Light refuses to be one thing. So does life. You too are both a wave of memories, a collection of particles, energy and matter intertwined. Just as light travels, you carry your own rhythm, your own message, through time. Ambient cue, soft cosmic wind. Faint echo of chime. You look again at the sunlight scattering through the leaves, and you sense it, the invisible network of light, energy, and breath that connects everything. The forest is not many separate trees. It is one vast organism bound by light. The air between branches hums with invisible exchange. Roots underground pass sugars and signals through fungal threads. Even darkness has its place in this balance. Without the shade, light would overwhelm. Without rest, energy would burn too bright. The forest teaches that balance is not stillness, but harmony, a dance between light and shadow, motion and pause, ambient cue, faint, distant heartbeat, returning. You take another breath. You imagine yourself as a leaf, stretched toward the sun, filled with green light. Energy flows through you, transforming silently. The sun's warmth becomes something deeper, not heat, not brightness, but understanding. This is how the universe communicates, not through words, but through transformation. Light becomes food. Food becomes thought. Thought becomes wonder. And so you realize, every moment you feel awe. Every time you pause to marvel at the world, you are speaking the language of light. Ambient cue, soft, shimmering hum. Like stars vibrating faintly, the day grows older. The shadows lengthen, and the forest begins to shift tone. Soon, the golden hue of morning will turn to amber, and later, to blue. The leaves will close their pores, resting after their long conversation with the sun. But before they sleep, they release one last gift, oxygen rising like a prayer, invisible but real. You breathe it in. It feels like gratitude itself. Pause, silence. A single soft wind note. You smile, realizing that every breath you take is a continuation of that first dialogue between light and life. You are part of the sentence. The universe began when light first touched matter, and as the evening deepens, you sense the next question forming quietly in your thoughts. If light speaks, who listens in the dark? The forest is awake. Light hums in the veins of every leaf, and the green world stirs with quiet purpose. What was once only energy now begins to find shape. You stand still among the trees, listening. The forest doesn't move fast. It never has to. Every branch, every vein, every unfolding leaf is a careful gesture. A design drawn not in haste but in harmony beneath the surface of each leaf. Within the tiny green rooms of its cells, a builder is at work. You cannot see it, but you can feel its order. The chloroplast cradled within the plant's cell is both artist and engineer. It gathers the sunlight it once translated and begins to construct the scaffolding of life itself. Ambient cue, slow rising hum, like quiet machinery made of wind. Each cell is a blueprint of the universe. Within its transparent walls, light becomes sugar, and sugar becomes matter. Tiny threads of cellulose are spun, layer upon layer, like silk, woven by invisible hands. This is how a stem learns to stand. This is how a leaf learns its shape. This is how the invisible becomes the physical. Imagine holding a single leaf to the sun. You can see through it, its web of veins glowing golden green. That pattern isn't random. It's a map of flow, a record of light turned to life. Each vein carries the sugars born from photosynthesis to where they are needed, the roots, the buds, the fruit, the very tips of new growth. Ambient cue, soft trickle of water underground beneath your feet. The roots mirror the sky. They branch, twist, and divide, each searching silently through the soil. What light cannot reach, the roots discover in darkness. They drink from earth and stone, bringing minerals and moisture to feed the green world above. The forest is a conversation between the seen and unseen, between sunlight and soil, between air and root, between life and the quiet beneath it. The green architect listens to both worlds. The chloroplast within the leaf and the mitochondria within the root share a silent pact, a promise of exchange. Energy for growth, growth for endurance. Ambient cue, faint rumble of deep earth movement. Plants do not build like we do. They do not hammer or carve. They grow by addition, by trust, cell upon cell, moment by moment. Their blueprints are written in DNA, letters older than speech, symbols of balance and rhythm. Each instruction is patient, each replication faithful. When a tree rises from seed to sky, it isn't merely expanding. It is remembering, following the same ancient pattern that has shaped forests for millions of years. You place your hand on the bark of a nearby tree. It feels alive but calm. Underneath that surface, the cells are busy, dividing, forming rings, sending sugar upward and sap downward. Every inch of growth is a testament to invisible labor. Ambient cue, low, deep chime, like the echo of wood, stretching you realize something profound. The forest is built not from dominance, but from cooperation. Every leaf feeds the roots. Every root supports the leaves. The architects of the forest build not for themselves, but for everything around them. The sugar made in the light is shared through a vast underground network, a symphony of exchange between tree and fungus, root and root, species and stranger. This is the mycorrhizal web, the forest's hidden internet. Through it, trees whisper in chemistry, warning of drought, sharing nutrients, offering carbon to the young. Ambient cue, gentle pulsating hum beneath earth above. The leaves shimmer. They seem unaware of the weight of their creation, but within them, design is constant. Every cell knows its purpose. Every structure has reason. The spiral of a fern, the veins of a maple, the symmetry of a sunflower, all are born from the same green intelligence that hums inside a single leaf. And yet, it is not intellect as humans know it. It is intuition. It is pattern. It is the universe learning to repeat itself through the shapes of life. Ambient cue, faint whisper of flute-like tone. The green architects do not work alone. They invite. They open. The sugars they make feed not only themselves, but everything that depends on them. The insects, the birds, the animals that wander through shade and meadow. Even you, breathing now, are fed by their quiet craft. Every fruit you've ever eaten was designed by sunlight, sculpted by the chemistry of chloroplasts. Every breath you take is written in the oxygen they release without sound. You are living proof of their architecture, a walking, breathing extension of photosynthesis itself. Ambient cue, light rain on leaves. The rain begins again, soft, rhythmic, persistent. You watch as droplets fall from leaf to leaf, a chain of motion that returns the sky to the soil. Each drop nourishes the builders below. Each fall is a blessing to the roots. In the dim light, the green world glows from within. The chloroplasts rest, but their work endures. The sugars they crafted fuel the slow pulse of life through the night. The forest does not sleep as you do. It dreams awake. Its architects continue their patient craft, guided by blueprints written in sun and soil. Ambient cue, soft heartbeat fades into the sound of rain. As you stand beneath the trees, you begin to see the forest differently, not as a collection of trunks and branches, but but as a single vast structure, a cathedral of chlorophyll, alive and aware. Its roof is woven light. Its pillars are built from time. Its floor is made of memory. You are inside a living design, a masterpiece built by silence. You understand now, the green architect is not one being, but many. Each leaf, each cell, each root is a craftsman of existence, working in harmony. Together, they form the breath of the earth. Ambient cue, distant rumble fades into deep calm. The forest exhales. The rain slows. You feel the pulse of the world quieting, not stopping, just softening, as if preparing for another kind of creation. For beyond the green lies another mystery. How the energy built here travels further, feeding not only the plant, but all who live because of it. Ambient cue, final low chime. Fading, you look toward the horizon, where the sunlight lingers even after dusk. The green architects rest, but their work continues inside fruit, inside air, inside you. You breathe out slowly, feeling the bridge between yourself and the silent builders around you. The night deepens, and with it comes a question, one that will guide the next journey. If green life builds for the earth, who builds for the stars? You float now beyond the blue cradle of earth. Below you, the planet glows softly, a swirl of cloud and sea, breathing under the sun's slow pulse. Above you, space stretches out like an ocean made of silence. Everywhere there is emptiness, and yet, within that emptiness, something invisible stirs. You close your eyes and imagine the unseen forces that shape everything. Gravity, that gentle pull, that silent architect, begins to weave its quiet web. Like a lullaby sung by the cosmos itself, it gathers dust, draws atoms, and folds space around its will. It does not shout or rush, it waits. A low cosmic vibration, deep and resonant, fills the void billions of years ago. Before Earth, before the first leaf or drop of rain, there was only this, a sea of hydrogen and helium drifting in the cold. Tiny ripples of density whispered across the young universe, where matter was just beginning to decide where to gather. These ripples, faint, invisible, would one day become galaxies, and in those galaxies, the stars that would one day make you you. Watch them form, slowly, dreamlike. Clouds of gas collapse under gravity's song, spiraling inward, heating, glowing. A star is born not in violence, but in balance, a conversation between pressure and pull, heat and collapse, light and shadow. Each star becomes a candle in the cosmic dark, its fusion heart transforming hydrogen into helium, and then into heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, the very ingredients of your blood and bone. Soft flicker of starlight. Like the sound of breathing in reverse, you are, in truth, made of their remnants of stars that burned long ago and then fell silent, their final breath scattering gold, calcium, and carbon into the dark. Supernova, the universe's last lullabies, release everything they've made, returning it to the void for another beginning. It is an endless cycle: birth, light, release, silence. Even in death, stars do not stop building. They simply change their tools. A faint echo of expansion. Like wind across a desert of time, you drift through one of these stellar nurseries, now a nebula, vast and serene, painted in colors the eye can only imagine. If you could hear light, it would sing here. Photons dance against the gas, whispering their energy into motion. Dust grains collide gently, sticking together, until they form something larger. The first stones, the first worlds in these slow collisions, planets, are born. Rock and ice and dust come together under gravity's patient hand, forming orbits, paths, and stories. Around newborn suns, worlds swirl like dreams in formation. Some are gas giants, too vast for life. Some are rocky, waiting for oceans. Some never form at all, their dust scattered into the endless wind of space, soft wind of cosmic dust. Faint electric shimmer, you imagine this from afar, watching as invisible builders construct galaxies one spark at a time. There is no hurry here, no chaos. Even explosions move with rhythm. The universe works in cycles of billions of years, each moment unfolding as if it has all the time it could ever need, and maybe it does. The builders of the universe are patient. They know that every atom that drifts today will someday rest in a new shape. A cloud becomes a star becomes a world becomes a being that wonders where it came from, and that being you becomes a witness to the story itself, faint hum of memory. Like stars whispering your name, you reach out, and the fabric of space ripples slightly. Not enough to disturb, just enough to remind you that even emptiness is alive. The cosmic web stretches across everything, a delicate structure of galaxies linked by filaments of gravity and dark matter. From a distance, it looks like a brain, neurons firing with starlight, thought patterns traced in galaxies. Perhaps the universe, too, is thinking, dreaming through its stars. You drift deeper into that thought, feeling the parallels between your mind and the cosmos. Neurons spark like stars. Your thoughts ripple like waves through time. Inside your chest, your heart beats softly, a rhythm, echoing the pulse of collapsing stars. The builders are not out there only, they are within you. Every cell you have is their continuation. Every breath carries atoms that once rested in the heart of a red giant. You are not separate from the stars. You are the dust that woke up and began to look back at itself. Soft, celestial chime, gentle, sustained, the thought hums through you, calm, profound, like the feeling of knowing you belong. You were never just born. You were assembled piece by the patient hands of physics, chemistry, and time. Each law of nature, each spark of light, each falling particle, they have been carving your story since the beginning. And so you rest within this knowing that even when you sleep, the builders continue their work. Inside your body, cells repair and renew. Inside the universe, stars continue to fuse and fade. The scale changes, but the rhythm remains. Creation never stops. It only shifts tempo, low hum, fading into the sound of slow breathing. You feel the vastness again, how the galaxies stretch like reflections in water, each one a silent song of balance and beauty. Somewhere, new stars ignite. Somewhere, others fall into quiet. And through it all, the builders never rest, never cease their patient orchestration. Time, you realize, is not a straight line, but a looping melody, each note connected to the one before, each silence filled with potential. You close your eyes and let the rhythm carry you. There is no end here, only transformation and rest between becoming soft wind through stardust, fading heartbeat of a galaxy you float once more, between breaths and between worlds, carried by the builder's unseen song. Perhaps that's what creation really is, not a single act, but a long, gentle inhale, a breath that spans billions of years, holding within it everything that ever was, and everything that ever will be. And as you drift toward sleep, you feel the faint pulse of that breath in your chest, the same pulse that once moved in a nebula, in a newborn star, in the quiet builders of all things, silence. Only the soft hum of gravity remains. The cosmos breathes in, you breathe out, and for a moment you are one. A faint sound of a star dissolving into dawn, then stillness. Gentle morning breeze, rustling leaves, soft birdsong in the distance. You stand beneath a tree at dawn. The air is still cool, and light slides slowly across the leaves, thin sheets of green glass trembling in the wind. You notice how the light doesn't simply fall, it's gathered. Every photon that lands here is greeted, accepted, transformed. The leaves do not rush. They wait as the sun climbs its slow golden ladder, as warmth spills over the forest and the day unfolds. And somewhere within those trembling membranes, a miracle begins. Quiet, unseen, precise. A faint, crystalline tone, the sound of sunlight entering a leaf inside each cell. Tiny structures called chloroplasts awaken. They are the ancient instruments of light, descendants of single-celled symbionts that once lived freely in the sea. Now they serve the leaf, turning sunlight into sugar, energy into life. You could almost hear it, a slow hum, a green pulse. When photons strike a pigment molecule, chlorophyll, electrons leap, thrilled into motion. It is as if the leaf sings each time light touches it, a vibration so small and quick that it hums like silence. Low, harmonious tone, soft vibration of energy transfer. This is photosynthesis, the choreography of light and matter. Water rises from the roots, drawn upward through veins, each drop carrying memory of soil and stone. Carbon dioxide drifts in from the air, a breath given by every living thing that exhales. And in the leaf's thin chambers, these elements meet the sun. It is not fire that fuels them, but the balance between giving and receiving. Light splits water apart, releasing oxygen, the quiet exhalation of the plant world. The leaf keeps the hydrogen, couples it with carbon from the air, and weaves from them the sugar that sustains the world. Soft exhale sound, the oxygen of the forest, every meadow, every blade of grass is part of this same silent concert. Billions of leaves lift their faces toward the light, each performing its piece of the song. Together they exhale oxygen, a gift so vast it fills the sky. You breathe it in now, the byproduct of their patience. And in your lungs, their exhaled gift becomes your inhaled. Their rhythm becomes yours. Wind through trees, heartbeats sync with rustling leaves. Light becomes sugar. Sugar becomes strength. Strength becomes motion, thought, awareness. Somewhere deep inside you, the photons gathered this morning are already being transformed again, from sunlight into the warmth of your skin, the flicker of your eyes, the hum of your mind. You are, quite literally, sunlight rearranged, soft chime realization forming plants. Learned this alchemy long before you existed. When the first cyanobacteria began to harness light, Earth's atmosphere was still harsh, filled with carbon dioxide and methane. But as these tiny green architects released oxygen, the sky changed color, the oceans turned from rust to blue, and the world began to breathe differently. Oxygen, that invisible revolution, paved the way for complex life. You walk upon a planet that was once suffocating, now singing with respiration. The leaves taught the world how to breathe. Meditative hum, echoes of ancient oceans. It's strange to think that you share ancestry with them, that somewhere in your genetic story are the same chemical dances that pulse in a blade of grass. Both of you convert energy, one from sunlight, the other from food, but the principle is the same. Take what is fleeting and make it last a little longer. Energy wants to move, to disperse, to fade. Life is the art of slowing that fading down. Photosynthesis is the first verse in that song, the act of holding light still just long enough to make something beautiful out of it. Soft chorus of crickets, gentle repetition of rhythm. You imagine standing as a leaf might, arms outstretched, still, patient. What would it feel like to drink sunlight directly, to turn brightness into sustenance? There would be no hunger, only balance, a continuous exchange between the sky and the soil. That, perhaps, is the leaf's wisdom. It never takes more than it needs, and it always gives back what it cannot keep. When the sun moves westward, the leaf's tempo slows. The green light dims, and the sugar made during the day travels down to nourish roots and seeds. Photosynthesis sleeps, but the song does not end. It merely drifts into the rhythm of night. Evening ambience, crickets, soft wind, faint rustle of leaves. You lie beneath the canopy now. Above you, thousands of leaves sway like a living ceiling. The light that was once harsh and sharp is now soft, amber, almost human. You breathe deeply, the air cooled by the green that surrounds you. Everything you are is part of this cycle. Every breath, every bite, every thought is sustained by the invisible chorus of photosynthesis. Even as you sleep, the sugars created by the sun flow through your body as energy. The leaves are always awake. Even when you dream, faint whisper of chlorophyll, gentle heartbeat of the forest. You begin to notice patterns, how your inhale echoes the plant's exhale, how day mirrors night, how creation and consumption are reflections of each other. Balance. That is the hidden theme of all things. The forest knows it. The oceans know it. Even light, when it hits a surface, divides itself, half absorbed, half reflected, never entirely gone. And so, you close your eyes, feeling sunlight turned into warmth across your skin. You understand now, photosynthesis is not just chemistry. It is communion between star and soil, between air and breath, between you and everything that grows. Soft, celestial hum, blending with a breeze through green leaves as night deepens. The plants rest, but they do not forget the light. In the darkness, their roots feed, their cells repair, their sugars move like dreams through veins. Even in stillness, life continues its work. There is no true silence in nature, only softer notes of the same eternal song. Wind fades. Distant hoot of an owl. When you awaken tomorrow, the leaves will rise again with the sun, ready to sing once more. They will take the same photons, the same air you exhaled, and weave the next verse of the world's ongoing melody. You breathe out one last time, slowly and somewhere a leaf drinks it in, turning your breath into green. Quiet exhale, soft chord resolving to stillness, last lines transition. From the songs of light to the currents of air, the breath of the forest joins the wind's eternal path. And somewhere high above the trees, the atmosphere carries that rhythm onward into the vast, invisible sky. Gives next chapter, the sky that breathes for all. Soft wind rises, gentle rustle of branches, faint hum of air. You sit beneath an old oak tree. The morning air is cool, tender against your skin. Around you, light filters through the canopy, a soft golden mist dancing between leaves. You inhale, and the breath feels older than you, as if it has traveled far, across oceans, through mountains, and over endless forests, to arrive here, now inside you. Above, the sky sways gently. You can almost see the invisible exchange, leaves giving, lungs receiving, the unbroken rhythm of life. This is photosynthesis, continuing its quiet miracle. The trees don't shout it, they simply breathe. Soft chime, like the whisper of a distant flute. Every second, the forest exhales. Molecules of oxygen, born from sunlight and chlorophyll, drift upward. They rise like prayers into the air, mingling with breath from every living thing. You are part of that same current, exhaling carbon dioxide, offering the trees what they need to begin again. It is a circle, perfectly balanced, beautifully mutual. You inhale the sky, and the sky inhales you. Faint sound of leaves shimmering in the breeze. If you could slow time, if you could shrink down to the size of an air molecule, you would see an endless ballet. Oxygen molecules, newly freed from leaves, glide through invisible corridors of air. They touch the edges of feathers, fur, water droplets, carried by wind, lifted by sunlight, cooled by nightfall. Some of them are drawn downward into your lungs. They dissolve gently into your blood, finding their way to cells that quietly hum with purpose. Inside those cells, tiny powerhouses, mitochondria, receive the oxygen like a secret gift. With it, they ignite life itself, releasing energy so soft you never hear it, but so essential that it keeps you warm, aware, alive. You are breathing the memory of leaves, deep hum of distant wind, soft heartbeat rhythm beneath it. There's something sacred in realizing how shared your breath truly is. The air inside you now once flowed through the lungs of a fox, the gills of a salmon, the leaves of a pine, the feathers of a dove. Every exhale is a story retold, a continuation of the forest's narrative written in the invisible ink of oxygen. Even the clouds above you, slow, white travelers, are shaped by breath. The water vapor that forms them was once drawn through roots, evaporated from leaves, and lifted upward by the heat of sunlight. The trees are not only makers of air, but also sculptors of sky. Softrainpatter.com. Rhythmic, when the first drop falls, it lands on the tip of a fern. The sound is almost imperceptible, yet the forest listens. The air thickens, fragrant with earth. Each raindrop carries a trace of what once was vapor, condensed and returned, a cycle that mirrors breath itself. You breathe in, and the rain breathes out. Long ago, before humans named these exchanges, before science measured their precision, the world still moved with this rhythm. The trees and the sky were already in conversation. Every morning was a promise, renewed photosynthesis, reawakening with the light. Oxygen released like a song into waiting lungs, the air growing tender and alive again. Soft birdsong joins faint. Far away you tilt your head back and look at the canopy. There, small openings between the branches reveal the pale shimmer of daylight. You can sense the steady exhalation of millions of leaves, their collective breath lifting invisibly upward. Each photon of sunlight that lands upon them becomes a part of this story, energy transformed into life. It is humbling. You think that the very act of breathing is a conversation, one that has never truly ended. Wind swells low. Slow sigh, the forest doesn't rush. Its rhythm is patient, eternal. While you live in seconds and minutes, the trees live in seasons and centuries. A single leaf may last only a few months, but through its brief existence, it gives more than it ever takes. Every green surface you see is a solar alchemist. It takes what seems intangible, sunlight, air, water, and turns it into something tangible. Oxygen, sugar, shade, life. The quiet act of photosynthesis is the reason the sky exists as you know it. Without it, there would be no breath, no flame, no cloud, no song. The air itself is the forest's invisible gift. Pause. Silence stretches for a few heartbeats. Imagine the world without this balance. Imagine if the leaves had never learned to split sunlight, to hold carbon, to release oxygen. The earth would be still and suffocating, oceans gray, skies unbreathable, nights unending. But they did learn, billions of years ago. Tiny organisms, ancestors of the leaves you see now, discovered how to use light to transform their surroundings. In that moment, they rewrote the planet's story. They filled the sky with oxygen, turning the once toxic air into the breath of all living beings. Those ancient microbes became the first forests, the first green pioneers, and now, every tree continues their memory, every leaf a descendant of that first miracle. Soft flute tone echoes, briefly fading into the sound of breeze. You close your eyes. Inside your chest, your lungs rise and fall, echoing the same rhythm as the trees. The breath you take is not yours alone. It belongs to the collective pulse of the planet. You can almost feel the microscopic conversation happening with every inhale. Oxygen entering, carbon leaving, the forest responding. Somewhere above, a single leaf quivers. A bird stirs. A new molecule of oxygen drifts free, weightless, waiting to become part of your next breath. Like the earth itself, vibrating softly. Scientists sometimes call the atmosphere a thin blue line, the fragile boundary that makes life possible. But from here, lying beneath the branches, it feels less like a boundary and more like a heartbeat. You can sense it, the pulse of air moving across continents, flowing from forest to city. From mountain to sea, the same molecules pass through generations, weaving all beings into one unbroken continuum. Every breath you take is a reunion. Gentle cosmic chime, faintly glowing tone. The sunlight fades, slipping lower through the trees. Shadows lengthen and the air cools. You feel the rhythm slow, the breathing deepen. The leaves continue their silent labor, converting the last light of day into a promise for tomorrow. You imagine the trees sleeping, yet still breathing, their internal world glowing faintly with stored sunlight. Even in darkness, they give, Even in stillness, they sustain. The night becomes a mirror of their patience. You breathe in one last deep breath, tasting the faint sweetness of the air, oxygen born from 1,000 leaves. The forest exhales, and you listen. Distant sound of night crickets begins, slow, rhythmic. You think about how fragile, how miraculous this balance is, how the simple act of breathing connects you not only to every tree, but to every living being that ever existed. You are inhaling starlight, the collective sigh of the planet. Your breath is part of a song that began long before you were born and will continue long after you sleep. Faint whisper of wind, final soft chord. You rest your head against the ground. The soil beneath you hums with quiet life, roots spreading in all directions like thoughts reaching for the surface. Above, the air continues to move, not rushed, not hurried, a calm river of breath. The trees breathe for you, and through you, the sky breathes again. Soft rustle of leaves, distant owl hooting, wind whispering through branches, the sunlight fades, and the forest exhales. Shadows lengthen, stretching across mossy ground and quiet streams. You feel the shift in the air, a soft cooling, a gentle hush. The leaves, which all day drank light, now fold themselves delicately, like hands pressed together in rest. Palms turned to the sky, it is night. Faint hum of crickets begins, rhythmic. Soothing you, imagine the leaves listening to this transition, their cells slowing, pulses softening. Photosynthesis, the great alchemy of day, ceases its song. No more light is captured, no more sugar made. And yet, the forest does not sleep completely, even in darkness. Life continues its subtle dance. Water moves silently through roots and veins, carrying energy stored in sugars from the day. Tiny chemical reactions continue inside every cell, repairing, renewing, storing wisdom for tomorrow's light. The forest's heartbeat persists, steady, patient, calm, soft, low tone. The quiet hum of cellular activity you notice that night is not emptiness, but a different kind of fullness. The absence of sunlight allows the forest to breathe in new ways. Gases shift quietly through the air. Carbon dioxide returns to the leaves, preparing them for the morning's next embrace of light. Even oxygen, that gift from day, lingers in the sky, a shared memory of sunlight, ready to be inhaled by all living things. Gentle wind through branches. Slow rustle some leaves. In this twilight, perform a tiny choreography. They move toward the remaining warmth, tilt to catch faint moonlight, fold their edges, or droop slightly, conserving energy. It is the plant's version of stretching, an unconscious preparation for rest. If you could see this at the microscopic level, you would notice every chloroplast dimming its activity, electrons slowing, pigments settling, as if even the smallest molecules understand the need for pause. Time in the forest now is different, slower, gentler. You match your breath to it, inhaling deeply, exhaling as if each wind gust carried the lessons of the day. Soft, nocturnal chorus, crickets, faint owl calls, distant frog croaks. The forest has a rhythm, and it follows the invisible clock of circadian cycles. Every leaf, every stem, every root knows when to work and when to rest. These cycles are older than any human calendar, older than cities or roads. They are written in the language of light and shadow, of temperature and moisture, of time itself. And you, quietly lying beneath the canopy, become part of this rhythm. Your heartbeat syncs with the slow breathing of leaves. Your mind, once cluttered with noise, finds calm in this steady pulse, faint sound of dripping water, soft, repetitive, meditative in darkness. You notice hidden life. Tiny fungi in the soil release chemicals, communicating with roots. Nocturnal insects begin their silent foraging. The air is alive with subtle movements, almost imperceptible, yet essential to the forest's harmony. Even the tiniest element, a single molecule of water or carbon dioxide, follows this nocturnal dance. The night teaches patience, resilience, and balance. It reminds you that even the brightest energy needs rest, that growth is not constant motion, but a gentle ebb and flow between work and restoration. Soft chime, almost like a leaf unfolding in moonlight. You realize that sleep in the forest is not passive. It is preparation. It is memory. It is hope, stored quietly in the veins of leaves and the tips of roots. What the day begins, the night preserves, ensuring the forest awakens, ready to sing with sunlight once more. And you, in your human rhythm, are part of this same eternal cycle. Wind slows, faint owl hoot, distant ripple of water. The moon rises above the canopy, a pale guardian. Its silver light filters softly through branches, painting the forest floor with quiet patterns. You watch the shadows, long and delicate, shifting slowly with the night breeze. Here, in this calm, you feel a deep connection, not only to the trees, but to the light they capture and store, to the air you breathe, to the soil beneath you, to the water flowing unseen. Everything is interconnected, a network of life and energy that flows without interruption. Low hum of nocturnal insects, rhythmic, soft, like distant music. Even your own cells echo this rhythm. While you rest, your mitochondria quietly use oxygen to convert stored sugars into energy. Your body, like the leaves, repairs itself, prepares itself, aligns itself with cycles older than thought. Sleep is your photosynthesis in reverse, a transformation of energy into renewal. And while you dream, the forest dreams. The leaves release trace gases, roots absorb nutrients, microbes process matter, all work in harmony, unseen, unheard, yet essential to life's continuity. Soft breeze, faint rustle of leaves, meditative, slow in this shared nocturnal world. There is no hurry. Time stretches into gentle pulses. Inhale, exhale, pulse of leaf, pulse of lung, pulse of soil. The day's bright energy rests, waiting for the sun to return. And the forest teaches you even brilliance must pause to continue. Whisper of wind, distant night bird, faint chime of falling. Do you notice how each leaf seems to fold slightly toward its center? It is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet deliberate, a nightly self-care ritual. Energy conserved now will fuel life tomorrow. Photosynthesis will begin again, and the forest will greet the sun as though nothing had changed, though everything has been quietly renewed. Gentle, dripping water, rhythmical, soothing you. Close your eyes, feeling yourself melt into the forest floor. Your breath aligns with the quiet pulse of the night. Every inhale draws life from leaves that rested today. Every exhale returns what the forest needs. even darkness, you realize, is a kind of light, not for vision, but for understanding, for rest, for growth unseen. Faint rustle of leaves. Wind fades to silence, the night hums softly, a lullaby older than memory. It is a song of patience, of transformation, of quiet miracles. You lie beneath the canopy, letting the rhythm of sleep and leaf, of energy and air, wash through you, and as the first stars appear above the forest, you sense the continuation of life's work, soft, steady, unending, and gentle. Long pause, quiet hum of forest night fades to stillness, last lines transition. When dawn returns, the leaves will awaken, and light will be captured anew. You, too, will rise, carrying the quiet wisdom of the night, and somewhere in the warming forest, life will begin to hum again. Ready for the sun's return, gives next chapter, the dance of morning light and shadow. Chapter 8. The dance of morning light and shadow. Soft wind rustling leaves, distant bird calls, faint ripple of water. The first light slips over the horizon, brushing softly against the treetops. It is gentle, diffused, as if the sun itself is careful not to wake the forest too abruptly. You inhale the cool morning air, filled with dew, moss, and the faint sweetness of pine. A new day begins, but it does not hurry. It moves with intention. The leaves, which closed so delicately at night, now tilt toward the sun. You can almost see them, sensing warmth, stretching toward light, like dancers reaching for music. Every leaf is a tiny solar panel, capturing photons and transforming them into energy. Photosynthesis resumes its quiet labor, a song of sunlight and chlorophyll. Invisible yet all-encompassing, faint chime. Like sunlight glinting on water, sunlight falls in dappled patterns through the branches. Shadows sway gently across the forest floor, stretching, shrinking, and merging as if in conversation. You notice the subtle differences, how moss glows with green intensity in the shafts of light, how ferns awaken slowly in the cool, shaded understory. The forest is alive in gradients, rhythms, and contrasts. Birdsong rises, melodic, far away, punctuated by soft breeze. Each photon carries energy and history. The light you feel on your skin may have traveled millions of kilometers, leaving the sun's core in a journey lasting centuries before arriving here. It collides with leaves, excites electrons, drives chemical reactions, a quiet transformation of raw energy into life. The forest, in this moment, is a cathedral of light, and every leaf a silent organ. You breathe in deeply, tasting the atmosphere, a mixture of oxygen released yesterday, water vapor from nearby streams, and faint traces of soil and leaf. The air is rich with memory, carrying the work of photosynthesis from yesterday into the present. And you, standing or sitting quietly beneath the canopy, are a witness, a participant, a single thread in this intricate tapestry. Soft rustle of leaves, distant insect buzz, meditative rhythm. The shadows themselves are not passive. They define space, temperature, and growth. Seedlings emerge in filtered sunlight, finding the perfect balance between illumination and shade. Each hour, the light moves, stretching shadows across the ground, creating corridors for life to flourish. You sense the forest measuring itself in subtle ways, calculating, adapting, thriving, Morning mist rises from the soil, tiny droplets capturing light and bending it into miniature rainbows. You bend closer, noticing how every droplet acts like a prism, scattering sunlight in infinite directions. Even the smallest reflection holds a universe of possibilities, an unspoken reminder of complexity hidden in simplicity, gentle hum like the heartbeat of the forest. Your own pulse aligns with the rhythm around you. As the forest awakens, so does your awareness. Every leaf, every shadow, every dewdroplet participates in a slow, deliberate choreography, a dance that has been performed for millennia, unnoticed but unwavering. The sun climbs higher, and the forest becomes a mosaic of light and dark. Each branch filters sunlight differently, creating intricate patterns on trunks and leaves. The interplay of shadow and illumination determines which plants thrive, which seedlings grow taller, which mosses spread. Light is not merely bright. It is a guide, a sculptor, a teacher. You step slowly through this living cathedral, feeling the warmth of rays on your skin, the softness of moss beneath your feet. Every breath draws in oxygen that was created here, in these leaves, by the sun's patient touch. You feel a profound intimacy with the forest, as if every photon carries a message intended just for you. Soft chime, like sunlight, reflecting on moving water droplets. You notice the tiniest movements, a spider stretching its web, a butterfly's wings reflecting the first rays, a squirrel pausing to sniff the air, measuring the morning's temperature and scent. The forest thrives not only on light, but on attentiveness, responsiveness, and gentle observation. Even the soil participates. Microorganisms awaken from the cool night, beginning their slow work of decomposition and nutrient cycling. Roots draw water upward, sending subtle signals to leaves above, orchestrating a network that is invisible yet vital. Life is woven here in connections, both obvious and hidden, each thread sustaining another. Faint rustle of leaves, distant owl echo, fading morning chorus. Begins time in this forest feels different. The seconds stretch, as if to allow the sunlight to fully awaken every leaf and every cell. You follow the rhythm, inhaling slowly, exhaling deliberately, becoming part of this measured unfolding. The world feels alive in gradients, not just light and dark, but motion and stillness, growth and rest, awareness and quiet reflection, soft bird calls, distant breeze, slow, meditative pattern. The sun now casts stronger shadows, elongating and shifting with each passing moment. Leaves that opened first are now fully facing the light, their chloroplasts humming with activity. Tiny stomata release water vapor, creating a delicate mist that feeds the surrounding air. This invisible breath of the forest rises, mingling with your own exhalation, blending human and plant life in a quiet communion. Every tree, fern, and blade of grass has a role, a place in the choreography of illumination. Even decay participates. Fallen leaves release nutrients, enabling the next generation of plants to capture sunlight and thrive. The dance of morning is not chaotic. It is purposeful, rhythmic, and profoundly balanced. Faint ripple of stream, soft wind, distant bird calls. You imagine the journey of a single photon. It leaves the sun's core, travels across space, passes through the atmosphere, and finally strikes a leaf. Its energy excites electrons, splits water molecules, and initiates the creation of sugar. Life itself transformed from sunlight. That sugar may be eaten by an insect, stored in a seed, or used to grow another leaf. Each photon becomes part of countless lives, a story shared across space and time. The shadows, to tell a story. They are the other half of light, defining space and direction, guiding growth and moderating energy. Without shadow, light has no context. Without contrast, life loses its rhythm. You walk slowly, feeling the interplay on your skin, observing how sunlight warms one side while the other cools. Soft chime, like sunlight scattering in dewdrops. The forest teaches you patience. It reminds you that growth cannot be rushed, that cycles are sacred, and that even the most powerful energy must flow through structured rhythms. You feel a kinship with this slow awakening, understanding that your own day, like the forest, will follow its own choreography, some moments bright, some shaded, all necessary, faint hum of leaves. Distant water trickle meditative tone. As the sun rises fully, the mist evaporates. The forest floor glistens briefly, then dries in patterns of light and shade. Leaves shimmer, moving subtly with the breeze, capturing and releasing energy in a continuous loop. The morning dance reaches its peak, a culmination of preparation, rest, and gentle motion. You pause, inhaling the warm, oxygen-rich air. Every breath is a testament to the quiet miracle of photosynthesis, to the patience of nature, and to the interconnection of all living things. You feel grounded, yet expansive, a single thread in the living fabric of the forest. Wind softens. Distant bird calls fade, gentle stillness. Even as you prepare to leave, the dance continues. Leaves sway. Shadows shift. Sunlight changes angles. Life persists in rhythms too vast to fully comprehend. The forest does not hurry, does not wait, but simply exists in perfect timing with the cycles of light and energy. Chapter 9. Twilight whispers. Energy slows. Life reflects soft wind through branches. Distant birds calling their last songs. Faint rustle of leaves. The day leans toward its end. The sun tilts low, painting the forest in amber and gold. Light stretches across the canopy, slipping between branches like liquid warmth. You inhale the fading light, feeling it settle on your skin, warming without urgency. Shadows grow long and soft, embracing the forest floor in a tapestry of dark and light. The leaves, still active in the afternoon, now begin a subtle slowing. Chloroplasts reduce their frenzied dance. Electrons return to calmer orbits, and photosynthesis eases. It is not absence, but moderation, a gentle reduction of energy that allows the forest to reflect and remember the day. Faint hum of insects awakening in the cooling air. Soft breeze rustling leaves. Twilight teaches patience. It is the forest's quiet reminder that every cycle has a pause, that energy must ebb to flow again, and that life thrives in this balance. You notice the air cooling, carrying with it a subtle scent of earth and water. Tiny droplets cling to leaves and moss, glinting faintly in the diminishing sunlight. Even the forest floor participates. Soil organisms that rested in the heat of the day now stir, processing matter slowly, releasing nutrients that will feed roots overnight. Every living thing is moving toward rest, yet none is idle. life continues its gentle work beneath the visible. Under the amber glow of fading light, soft chime, like sunlight refracted in evening, do you follow a stream, watching the water reflect the golden hues above. Ripples catch the last light of day, breaking it into fragments of color. Every drop participates in a quiet energy exchange, slowing, cooling, and preparing to settle. Even moving water pauses in rhythm, reflecting the forest's transition from bright activity to evening contemplation. Shadows lengthen and merge. They are no longer sharp contrasts, but soft envelopes, creating pockets of rest and reflection. Seedlings and saplings adjust, stretching just enough to capture the residual light. No plant rushes. Every growth is measured, patient, in harmony with the fading day. Distant owl begins to call softly. Subtle rustle of nocturnal creatures moving as twilight deepens. Nocturnal life awakens. Insects and small mammals move carefully in the dimming light, guided by instincts tuned to these transitional hours. Predators and prey, pollinators and plants, all sense the subtle cue of lowering energy. The forest operates in layers, each organism responding to the fading brilliance, preparing for night while honoring the remaining day. You pause to watch a leaf's edges quiver in the soft breeze. Even in stillness, energy circulates quietly. Water vapor rises gently from the soil. Microcurrents of air shift, and light bends through the remaining moisture in the air. The forest's pulse has slowed, yet it is steady, unbroken. Meditative, soft nocturnal chorus begins. Distant frogs, faint insect hum, whispering wind, you feel the harmony around you. Every breath, every heartbeat aligns with this decelerating rhythm. You sense the subtle lessons. Energy is precious, reflection is necessary, and growth is both active and patient. Twilight is a reminder that brilliance and rest are not opposites, but partners in the dance of life. Even the sun participates in this meditation. Its light softens in angle, losing intensity, yet enriching every leaf, branch, and stone it touches. Photons still arrive, carrying energy, yet they are slower. Less urgent, a gentle invitation for the forest and all its creatures to reflect and recalibrate. Soft rustle of leaves, distant birdsong fading, you notice the subtle sounds of twilight. The forest is not silent, it is hushed. Leaves brush softly against one another, a whispered conversation of movement. Small animals forage delicately, leaving tiny imprints in the soil. Even shadows seem to breathe, expanding and contracting in rhythm with fading light. Every organism responds to the cues of twilight. Trees slow sap flow in their stems, conserving energy for nighttime repair. Insects align themselves with the cooling air, preparing for nocturnal activity. Birds return to hidden perches, calling faint songs that echo as memory into the dimming canopy. Soft chime, like sunlight glinting on dew, fading into dusk. The forest's energy is now measured, reflective, balanced. It no longer pushes forward, but holds, observes, conserves. You feel your own body syncing with this rhythm, a slow inhale, a long exhale, mirroring the forest's collective sigh as it transitions from day to night. Even the tiniest leaf veins pulse less urgently, tiny chloroplasts resting, electrons settling into calm orbits. Energy is transformed, stored, remembered, rather than consumed recklessly. You see the delicate wisdom in this. The forest does not rush, yet life continues unbroken. Soft, distant frog calls, low breeze, rhythmic, meditative. The stream now reflects twilight in long, gentle streaks. The stream now reflects twilight in long, gentle streaks. Water slows its rushing, carrying the light and warmth from the day gradually into shadows. Every droplet acts as a prism, scattering faint fragments of color and energy, an echo of the sun's life-giving touch, even as it prepares to disappear. You lie back against the forest floor, feeling the soft carpet of moss beneath you. Your breath aligns with the slow pulse of the world around you. Each inhale draws in the cooling, fragrant air. Each exhale returns what you no longer need. You feel the forest's lessons imprinted on your body: patience, balance, gentle flow, soft wind, faint rustle of nocturnal movement. Slow, meditative twilight is a teacher. It reminds you that transitions are not endings, but pauses, that slowing down allows energy to be conserved, refined, and directed anew, that reflection precedes action, and rest precedes growth. In this soft, golden half-light, you witness the forest honoring the day's passing with grace. The shadows now dominate the forest floor, yet every object, every leaf remains defined by the memory of light. Contrast teaches form. Reflection teaches understanding. Even as the sun dips below the horizon, the forest carries the day's energy into the night, storing it invisibly, ready for the next dawn. Gentle nocturnal sounds increase: distant owl, frog, insect, hum. You feel yourself part of this continuum. Your thoughts slow, your muscles soften, your mind aligns with the forest's deliberate rhythm. Twilight becomes a lullaby, not merely of darkness, but of careful, deliberate energy flow. You are reminded that life is not only about what we see, but what we sense, conserve, and honor in quiet moments. Faint water ripple, distant wind through branches, meditative. Soft, the forest whispers its secrets. Energy is not lost, but transformed. Light becomes sugar, sugar becomes growth, growth becomes memory, memory becomes preparation. Twilight is the transition, the bridge between creation and rest, between action and reflection. You feel the intricate choreography of light, shadow, and life in every inhalation, in every heartbeat, in every breath of air passing through your lungs. Even the soil exhales subtly. Microbes, roots, and decaying matter release gentle gases, preparing the next stage of the forest's life, unseen but essential. Energy is stored, memories linger, and life moves forward quietly, patiently. Soft wind slows, distant night calls begin. Owl, insect, frog. You close your eyes, feeling the pulse of twilight in your body. The golden light fades, replaced by the soft indigo of evening. You carry with you the lessons of slowing down, of honoring cycles, of reflection. The forest breathes alongside you, a silent witness to the transition of day into night. Long pause, soft rustle of leaves, distant water trickle, faint nocturnal hum. Chapter 10. Nightfall, the hidden pulse of life's soft wind through leaves. Distant owl calls, faint ripple of water, gentle cricket hum. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and twilight melts into deep indigo. Shadows stretch long and still, blending seamlessly into the forest floor. You inhale, the cool night air, tasting the subtle richness of earth, water, and life settling into darkness. The canopy above frames glimpses of stars, tiny points of brilliance scattered across the velvet sky. Every living thing senses the shift. Leaves no longer tilt toward light. Instead, they rest, conserving energy for tomorrow's sun. Chloroplasts slow, photosynthesis ceases, and the chemical dance of daytime gives way to the quiet chemistry of repair and reflection. Even the soil hums softly with movement, microbes digesting, roots drawing water, fungi exchanging nutrients invisibly, faint chime like dew-catching starlight. Distant nocturnal insect hum, the nocturnal creatures awaken. A fox prowls silently, its paws cushioning its steps. Owls glide effortlessly between branches, eyes attuned to subtle movements. Insects hum and buzz, tiny engines of life, pollinating, hunting, or simply existing in the delicate balance of night. You observe without intrusion, feeling the pulse of life continuing in darkness. You notice subtle currents of energy moving through the forest. Water cools, air shifts, and the faint phosphorescence of some fungi glows gently in hidden corners. Even shadows seem to carry their own rhythm, flowing and retreating as if alive. The night is not empty, it is full, vibrant with activity that often escapes the human eye. Soft, distant water trickle, rustling leaves, subtle frog calls, meditative rhythm. You follow the stream, tracing its slow meandering. Moonlight dances on the surface, fragmented by ripples and fallen leaves. Every droplet moves in a quiet current, carrying nutrients and energy downstream. The water mirrors the sky, reflecting stars, clouds, and the faint glow of nocturnal life. You feel the interconnectedness of sky, water, and forest, each pulse contributing to the rhythm of the whole. Even plants have their own nocturnal rhythm. Stomata release water vapor gently, balancing internal pressure. Respiration continues quietly, turning stored sugars into energy for repair and growth. Roots absorb water and minerals, sending signals upward that guide the forest's hidden choreography. Life continues, unseen but deliberate, in the subtle interplay of energy and matter. Soft wind, distant insect calls, faint owl echo your own body, mirrors this slowing pulse. Heartbeats align with the rhythm of the forest. Breaths lengthen, deep and unhurried. Your awareness shifts inward, sensing the continuity of life beyond sight and sound. Even in stillness, energy flows, in neurons firing quietly, in muscles relaxing, in mind wandering through the tapestry of forest life. Stars peek through gaps in the canopy, each one a distant sun, radiating energy across unimaginable distances. You imagine photons traveling millions of years, finally reaching Earth and mingling with the faint light of fireflies and the reflective surfaces of leaves. This cosmic exchange continues night after night, connecting the universe to your quiet presence beneath the trees. Soft chime like starlight, faint nocturnal chorus, the forest breathes in cycles. Nightfall is its exhale, a deliberate slowing that allows repair, reflection, and preparation. Predators hunt cautiously, herbivores forage in measured steps, and fungi release spores carried by the night air. Energy is neither wasted nor rushed. It flows, transformed, absorbed. You feel a profound respect for this delicate balance. Even shadows hold secrets. They shelter small animals, protect seedlings, and guide movement in dim light. Without shadow, energy would dissipate. Without contrast, life would lose its rhythm. Night is a lesson in subtlety, in understanding that vibrancy does not always mean intensity. Faint breeze, rustle of leaves, distant water trickle, slow and meditative, you wander further, listening to the quiet symphony, crickets, frogs, owls, distant insect hum, the interplay of sound and silence, movement and stillness, mirrors the hidden dance of life in darkness. Each creature, each leaf, each particle of dust participates, though largely invisible. You realize that life is never truly still. It is merely patient, concealed, and intricate. You pause by a moss-covered log. Tiny fungi glow faintly, bioluminescent signals pulsing softly in the dark. A slow-moving beetle crawls across its surface, interacting with spores, microhabitats, and the quiet energy of the log. Even the smallest lives carry rhythms of work, rest, and connection, echoing the greater patterns around them. Soft wind, distant nocturnal calls, meditative tone. You feel time stretching differently in the night. Seconds are elongated. Moments expand, filled with hidden activity. The forest is alive in ways that the daylight could never reveal fully. You notice the stillness is not emptiness, but a canvas for subtle vibrancy. Life persists in hidden corridors, in moonlit leaves, in cooling streams. Water droplets cling to ferns, reflecting faint starlight. Every droplet refracts light, creating miniature prisms, tiny beacons of energy and reflection. The forest teaches you that even in apparent darkness, beauty persists. Even when activity slows, purpose continues unseen. Carried in quiet energy flows. You lay back in the moss, feeling the night's pulse under your body. The stars above twinkle steadily, silent witnesses to the forest's nocturnal dance. Your mind aligns with the measured beat of life, inhaling slowly, exhaling deliberately. You sense energy circulating invisibly, linking tree, soil, animal, and your own presence. Night is both stillness and movement, concealment and revelation. Even the soil is alive. Microbes process matter slowly, releasing nutrients, regulating chemical balance, preparing the forest for dawn. Roots continue to exchange information via networks unseen, maintaining communication that sustains every leaf and branch. The hidden pulse of life is subtle yet unbroken, a continuous rhythm flowing through every organism. Soft nocturnal chorus swells, insects, distant frogs, owl calls. Rustling leaves, your own heartbeat softens, syncing with the night. Yet the forest thrives, full of hidden activity, patient energy, and quiet vigilance. You feel the profound lesson. Even when unseen, life persists, vibrant in shadow and silence. The moon rises, casting silver arcs across trunks and leaves. Light flows gently, guiding nocturnal movement without disturbance. Predators and prey navigate the dim illumination. Insects and spiders pursue intricate patterns, and plants continue subtle respiration. Even under darkness, energy circulates, life persists, and the forest maintains its delicate balance. Faint water, ripple, soft wind, distant nocturnal